Hello, I'm Mindy, a regular mom in her 40s, and today I have a regular grocery haul and meal plan to share with you. I'm going to show you exactly what I purchased at the grocery store and how I'm using it to feed my family of 5 across the week. I'm also going to share with you exactly how much I spent, and we're going to compare it to the USDA budget recommendations, high, medium, low, and thrifty, and see where I fall on that spectrum. So if you need some ideas for what to feed your family, what to make for dinner this week, or you just, want a jumping off point to start with, then I've got you covered. You are welcome to steal my meal plan. I did a little cleanup in the pantry, fridge, and freezer so you can kind of see where I'm starting from with this grocery haul. I'm actually kicking myself because I ordered eggs. I thought we were out, but somebody must have gone out and gotten some over the weekend. A little bit of yogurt, some grapes. There's hardly any milk left. This is actually leftover potato soup. Not a lot going on in the fruit and veggie crispers, so I'll definitely be picking up some fruits and vegetables today. In the freezer, again, not a lot going on. Got a few chicken nuggets and chicken tenders. The kids like to fix those for a snack or to take in their lunch. A few Ninja Creamy things ready to go, but that's about it. And over in the pantry, we have some stuff. In fact, I'm not picking up a lot of like snacks or lunch packing things besides sandwich stuff and fruit because there's plenty of like little packages of items and snacky things that they can throw in their lunches or grab on their way out of the house for rehearsals or practices. A little bit of cereal and some breakfast bars, few pantry staples, but I mostly purchased what I needed for this meal plan so you can see what it would cost for the most part, but little bit to work with. I also have a few sweet potatoes over here. I'm not a huge sweet potato fan, but I might use those for a lunch prep this week. I want to try that really popular like ground beef and sweet potato hot honey cottage cheese creation. You know what I'm talking about? And then just kind of your standard spices, seasonings, condiments. There are a few things I'm going to restock that I need just for my kitchen staples, you'll see. Okay, starting with the produce, we have some bananas and some apples. These are Pink Lady apples, and then these are just Red Delicious apples. I plan to use these to make an apple crisp. Some snacking and lunch packing veggies, the mini cucumbers and the carrots. My kids really like the carrot chips, but I also have just the regular like petite baby carrots, some sugar snap peas, and also I have an English cucumber here. The frozen veggies were a little picked over in my Walmart today, and some of the things I normally buy, like green beans, were not in stock, but I did pick up 2 bags of the broccoli florets and then 2 packages of the frozen corn. I got the name brand because it's a smaller package and it's the actual size and amount that I need for the recipes I'm using it for. So I took the easy route and just got the exact amount that I needed in each package. Eggs, which I did not know that we didn't need until I'd already ordered them, but that's okay. And then I also have a couple pounds of chicken breast and about 1.5 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken thighs, plus 3 pounds of 90-10 ground beef. I had ordered the 3-count package of the lean, like 93.7. They were out. They were going to substitute something else, the 85.15, and I was like, nope, I'll just go in and get this. I also have a bag of the Just Bare lightly breaded fillets. What I like about this is that there are 5 in this bag, typically speaking. I know it's by weight, but usually there are 5 fillets and there were 5 people in my family. So it's the right amount to make a sandwich for everybody. I feel like a lot of stuff like this, there's only 4 and having 5 is very helpful. Dairy, nothing super exciting. Just have some milk and some cream, sour cream, a little whipped cream cheese. I have my favorite of the Dan & Light and Fit, the caramel apple pie. These are really good with a little granola. I have a pound of lunch meat and some sliced cheese for the kids' sandwiches. This is my favorite snacking cheese, the Kerrygold Dubliner, and I'm going to do a snack board for some friends we're hosting this week. Pound of Monterey Jack and a pound of medium cheddar that I plan to shred up for recipes. And I don't even think I need this week. I think this was just left in my cart. You know, like I stuck it in there when I planned to buy it. Didn't even notice that it was in like my online Walmart cart when I was placing this order, but oh well, it lasts a long time. We'll just stick it in the fridge and use it another time. We were completely out of ketchup and also bay leaves. Those are kind of my 2 kitchen staples, you know, like condiments and seasonings that I needed to restock. But some other sort of staple items for us, I needed some old-fashioned oats. I use these for baking. There's a bread recipe that I make for sandwiches that Brick really likes that calls for oats, and also sometimes we use these in cookie recipes. I don't have an immediate use for the box mac and cheese and the soups. They're just really nice to keep on hand in the wintertime when we have like fend for yourself nights or just need like quick lunches on the weekends and we were out. So I have 2 of the regular blue box Kraft Mac and then 2 of the spirals, 4 cans of just plain old Campbell's chicken noodle, and then 4 cans of vegetable beef. This is really good with a little ramen thrown in. Since they didn't have the frozen green beans that I like, I picked up 4 of the cans of canned green beans, some black beans, couple cans of tomatoes. I have some orzo pasta. I have some gluten-free items for the snack board that I'm putting together for the night that we host our friends, because there are several people who need to eat gluten-free. So everything that I'm making that night should be gluten-free. So I got like the crackers and the pretzels specifically that are gluten-free. Some egg noodles, I splurged and got like a high quality kind, and also some chow mein noodles. These are a really good crunchy topping, and I'm gonna put them on a dish this week, but they're really good on like salads and stuff too, and they can be hard to find around the holidays because there's also like a no-bake cookie recipe, I think, that uses these. I picked up some mini bagels. The kids have been wanting bagels for breakfast, but when I buy the store brand, they don't eat them. And I think these are softer and they're actually still a pretty decent size. Those other ones are almost too large. Have some hamburger buns here for the chicken sandwiches we're gonna have this week. And then also 2 bags of tortilla chips. These are like a really thick, crispy chip. And then these are thin and seasoned. We have been like addicted to these since they showed up in a grocery order by accident. Like these were put in our order by accident one time when we tried them, and we cannot get enough of these Julio's core tortilla chips. They're so good. I did not pick up any sandwich bread because I made a loaf of sandwich bread yesterday. I've been using my bread maker to make the dough and then my Pullman pan to bake it up and slice it up for the kids to make sandwiches and for us to have toast throughout the week. So I will leave a couple of my favorite recipes for sandwich bread linked in the description box below. And then I had one impulse buy, you guys, one impulse buy. Hopefully you won't blame me. I am a person who survives pumpkin spice season, or I tolerate it just to get to peppermint season, because I'm a big like peppermint fan, and we're starting to see the peppermint things. And when I went to the ice cream aisle to get some vanilla ice cream for the apple crisp that I intend to make for our guests this week, I also saw that Bluebell has their peppermint bark ice cream out. And if you know, you know. I know not everybody has Bluebell in their part of the country, but I'm a fan. And my husband is trying to kind of lay off this stuff more, but this is a good buy because he does not care for this flavor at all. Like, this will not tempt him at all. It'll be me and the kids enjoying this. In fact, my kids really like this. This probably won't last like throughout the week. Okay, that hits the spot. That'll take the edge off. So I'm sure many of you can tell that I shopped at Walmart for this grocery order. I did a grocery pickup order and I shopped in store. In fact, that's one of my preferred ways of shopping. I will place an order for the things that are packaged, you know, the pastas and the canned goods, the pantry items, some of the things from the freezer, and then I will go in the store and pick out my produce and, you know, sometimes my meat also. So before we get to the meal plan, let me break down what I spent. My grocery order pickup was $90.67 before tax, and in store I spent $114.45. Now, I also had a Sam's Club order delivered yesterday, and in that order there were some protein shakes and some sodas, and those come out of a different part of our budget that we call recreation. Special drinks, including alcohol like beer and wine, going out to eat, getting takeout, that we pull from a separate budget, because if we ever needed to, we could just drop that budget down to zero. And there are some seasons in our life when we have had very little, if any, money in that particular line item, but they're non-essential. You know, we can live without them. And instead of, you know, getting pizza or takeout one night, that would be when I would, you know, open up a few cans of that soup or make up a few boxes of mac and cheese. I also picked up some non-food items like some laundry detergent and some Ziploc bags for lunch packing. My understanding, if I am reading the budget recommendations from the the USDA is that it is for food specifically. So I'm not going to include those items in my grocery total this week for the comparison purpose, but I am going to include the apples and the grapes and the ranch dressing and the butter and the bread flour that I picked up at Sam's Club. And also this 20-count box of Christmas tree cakes. So the grocery items specifically that I ordered from Sam's cost me $48.86. And all together for this grocery haul, that's a grand total of $253.98. The USDA puts out these budget recommendations from month to month. Really, they're estimations of what it would cost to purchase food based on the size of your household and your preferred budget. And there were 4 levels to the budget that they offer. We're going to take a look at that and see where I landed. But first, I want to thank today's sponsor, Upside. Today's video is sponsored by Upside. It is a free app where I earn cash back on everyday purchases at gas stations, grocery stores, and restaurants. They have over 100,000 of those in the app, gas stations, grocery stores, and restaurants. When I'm ready to use it, I just open up the app, I look at the deals in my area, I make a selection, and then I go to that place and make a purchase. And then the cash back shows up in my Upside app, and usually within a couple of days. I'm actually opening it up right now just to see what's available in my area. There are almost always some really good options for cash back on gas close to me. I see 10 cents back per gallon at multiple places nearby. Recently, I've also been checking to see what offers are available at restaurants nearby because eating out has gotten kind of expensive. So if I can get a little bit of cash back, that's great. Five Guys, 28% cash back. Jimmy John's, 25% cash back. Little Caesars, 18% cash back. That is definitely what I'm going to pick up tomorrow. And this is cash back you can actually use. You can cash out anytime you want to your bank account or via PayPal. But what I'm doing right now is letting my cash back build up a little bit, and I'm going to cash it out for a gift card to Walmart or Amazon. It is very difficult when you have a joint checking account to buy Christmas and birthday presents for your spouse. And this is how I get around that and have a little bit of cash so that I can surprise them with something special. Upside has given back $1 billion to its users. To find out how much you can earn, download the free Upside app and use promo code Mindy to get an extra 25 cents back for every gallon on your first tank of gas. That's an extra 25 cents back for every gallon on your first tank of gas when you use my promo code Mindy, or you can just scan the QR code right here. Thank you again to Upside for being a longtime supporter of my channel and for sponsoring today's video. Let's get back to it. Typically speaking, I need to plan 5 dinners a week for my family. And then one night a week, at least, usually, we are eating leftovers or just kind of fending for yourself from the things that we have on hand. And then the other night we will be eating outside of the house, or we'll grab a pizza or some kind of like takeout or something. This week we have something taking us out of the house, or some of us out of the house in the evening almost every single night. So I was trying to keep that in mind as I was planning these meals. Tonight, I'm gonna make a tried and true family favorite. It's a Swedish meatball orzo. I've made this and featured it on the channel many times. It's one of those one-pot skillet meals. It's sort of like a hamburger helper dupe, but so much better than the box stuff. I will leave the original recipe linked in the description box below. One night, my husband and I are going to a work event, so I just needed something for the children, and that's why I picked up those little Just Bare chicken patties. We just toss those in the air fryer and throw them on the buns that I purchased. Add, some fruit or some veggies, maybe a handful of tortilla chips, and they've got dinner ready to go. That one has become a go-to quick meal for us because I think that they are very close to a Chick-fil-A sandwich, which is one of our favorites. But if I were to purchase 5 Chick-fil-A sandwiches for my family, no fries or drinks or anything, it comes out to around $30. I can cut that in half by buying those fillets and just buying some buns at the store. Now, one night we are hosting our church small group. So there's going to be about 12 to 15 people here for dinner. And I am going to make 2 different kinds of soups and then also have some veggies and cheese and crackers, kind of like a little charcuterie. And I'm also gonna make an apple crisp with ice cream for dessert. So if you are working this as just a regular family meal plan, that would probably be 2 nights worth of dinners. The soups that I am making are a nacho soup, and I pinned that last summer. I thought it looked really good. It's kind of in the vein of like a taco soup, but creamy. And then I'm also making a chicken tortilla soup, and I will just pop up a picture here of the recipe card that my mother-in-law gave me. This is one of her recipes that she makes a lot. So I'll get those soups going in the slow cooker, and I'll be able to have kind of the veggies and the snacks out as people arrive. We'll have all the appropriate accoutrements for the soups, and then we'll have a yummy homemade apple crisp for dessert. I'm gonna have my husband throw some chicken on the grill one night. I have been craving a cozy comfort food from my childhood. So if you are feeling kind of nostalgic, you might remember this if you were growing up in like the 80s and 90s. It's Kraft chicken egg noodle. My oldest sister and I figured out how to make something that is very close to that egg noodle stuff that used to come in the brown box. Comment down below if you know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna make that to go along with the grilled chicken, and I will show you how I do that. So if you are looking for that sort of nostalgic recipe, here's how I do it. Kraft chicken egg noodle starts with egg noodles. Shocker. I have used just standard store-bought egg noodles. I look for the thinnest ones, usually the medium width. I have this pappardelle that I'm going to use for my family meal here in a couple days. You'll need about 6 ounces or around 2 cups dry if you are making a single serving, like the equivalent of a single box. I usually double it when I'm making this for my family. Sometimes when I'm feeling a bit extra, I order some of these egg noodle flakes. I get these on Amazon, and these are very, very similar to the egg noodle flakes that were in the original Kraft chicken egg noodle box. I want to get a pot of water boiling and then cook those egg noodles to al dente. Usually takes about 10 minutes or so. And while those are cooking, we are going to mix up our little spice mix or little sauce mix that's going to make the creamy sauce. In my little ramekin here, I have 2 tablespoons of cornstarch, 2 teaspoons of chicken bouillon powder, half a teaspoon each of parsley, onion powder, and garlic powder, and then about 1/8 of a teaspoon of cracked black pepper. And it makes this little mix. In this measuring cup, I have 1 1/4 cups of water. It is like cold or lukewarm. You just don't want hot water. And before I add this to my saucepan here in a minute, I'm going to mix these 2 things together. So I'll pour the powder mix into the water and stir it all together before I add it to the pan in just a minute. One thing I had trouble finding was dehydrated or freeze-dried carrots or celery, which I think would have been in that little powder mix. You might be able to find them online, but what I do is just grate, use my grater, about a tablespoon each of carrot and celery. It just takes a few seconds. It doesn't take very long for me to do that. And I will saute this for a few minutes when I melt the butter. This butter that I forgot to get out when I started filming, but it's 2 tablespoons. You need 2 tablespoons of butter. My noodles are done. I drained them and they are set aside for now. And in my pot, which is back on the stove, I have 2 tablespoons of butter and my grated celery and carrots, and I'm going to let the butter melt and just let the celery and carrots cook with that for about 3 minutes or so before we add the rest of the sauce ingredients. And I'm on kind of medium/medium low heat here. This is my 1 1/4 cups of water with the spice mix stirred in. My celery, carrots, and butter have been sauteing over low heat here for about 3 minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and stir in the rest of the sauce mix. And I want to keep stirring that over medium-low heat. It's going to start to thicken, bubble and thicken. And when that happens, I am going to just stir my egg noodles, my cooked egg noodles, back in. Okay, I'm telling you, this to me tastes like 1998 in a bowl. This is very, very close to what I remember Kraft chicken egg noodle tasting like. If I really wanted to be authentic, I'd probably use garlic salt instead of garlic powder, but there's already so much salt in the chicken bouillon that I decided to use garlic powder instead. But man, this is so, So worth it to me. This next information might not be that interesting if you don't live in the US, but about 85 to 90% of my audience does. I've mentioned this many times in various videos on my channel in the last few years. The USDA, the United States Department of Agriculture, publishes data that estimates the amount of money a family would need to spend on food. And it's dependent upon that family's makeup, the size of the family, how many people are in the family, and the ages and genders of those people in that family. And they typically update this information every month. It's October when I'm filming this, and the most recent month's data that is available on the website when I checked is from August, so 2 months ago. One of the documents breaks the budget recommendations down into 3 categories: a low budget, a moderate budget, and a high budget. And this is just a matter of preference and also budget availability for the families. Families that maybe are fine eating soups and casseroles and less meat and dairy are probably going to be able to spend less than if you prefer, high quality steaks or fish or organic fruits and vegetables, so on. There is another document that they put out that they call the Thrifty Budget Meal Plan. And it's the same idea. They're estimating the cost of food based on the family's makeup, the number of people, and the genders and ages of the people in the family. And my understanding is that this is the lowest amount that the USDA estimates a family of that size would need to spend on food and maintain proper nutrition. So for my family, my husband is 44, I am 43. We have 2 daughters who are 16 and 13, and then a son who is 12. So I would go to that chart and I would find these corresponding recommendations. I would add those all together, and then it recommends that I subtract 5% of that total since I am a household of 5. There's some fine print down in the bottom of the document that explains why this is, but I'm sure you can understand that the more food you're buying, the cheaper it gets. Buying in bulk or wholesale is usually less than buying retail or single items. So if my math is mathing correctly, I calculated that on the high budget, it comes out to $462.46 per week. On the moderate budget, $376.96 per week. On the low budget, $308.75 per week. And with the thrifty budget, $281.30 per week. And again, this is just for my family of 5, given our ages and the makeup of our household. I didn't have a specific budget that I was trying to stay under for this grocery haul and meal plan. I just wanted to get the things that we needed and a few things that we wanted and kind of see where we land. And my total for this week, as I stated before, was $253.98. So that actually puts me in the thrifty budget category, at least when it comes to the amount of money that we're spending on food. But Mindy, we saw your pantry, fridge, and freezer. You already had some food, plus you have pantry staple seasonings and oils and condiments that you can cook with. I kind of feel like as you cook more in your own kitchen, as I prepare and cook more of the meals throughout the week for my family at home, that's going to be the case. We're going to have things that are left over from previous grocery hauls, and I'm going to build up my spices and my baking items like flour and sugar and baking powder and the condiments and oils that I use in my cooking. So I won't have to replace all of those things in every grocery haul. I'll just have to get the handful of items that I've run out of. For this grocery haul specifically, remember, it was bay leaves and ketchup. I was out of those staples and needed to replace them. And a couple of the items that we didn't use this week, but will down the road, are the soups and the box mac and cheese that I purchased. We don't need to use all of those or maybe even any of them this week. They were just something that I wanted to go ahead and stock in my pantry and have on hand for any time we might need them. And I did also say that we usually eat, 1 or 2 meals out per week, and that comes out of a different budget. But let's say I'm putting it in this budget. If I added another $100 to my total this week so that we could have like maybe 2 fast food meals for my family or 1 kind of quick service meal for my family, then my total would be $353.98. And that would put me just under the moderate budget threshold. Just some things to think about. I don't think this sort of thing is an exact science, but it's just interesting to have those numbers and kind of compare myself to them. And there is more than one right way to budget. As long as you have a budgeting system that works for you, I think that's great. But as a reminder, here is what $253 and change purchased for my household of 5 this week. And it included some options for breakfast and lunch. It included produce and proteins. And here are some of the meals that I prepared my family for dinner given this grocery haul. If you want to see another video like this, let me know in the comments. Leave me a comment and let me know, where I'd give you, a grocery haul and a meal plan for the week, and then kind of compare it to the USDA budget recommendations and see where we fall on that spectrum. Thank you again to Upside for sponsoring. Again, you will find them linked in the description box below. And until the next video, you can pick out one of these, and I'll see you there.